I just saw this meme online blasting and lambasting cops. It was just vicious towards cops. And I'm going to tell you this, when we are more upset with our police officers than our felons, something is terribly wrong. But anyway, this meme looks like it was written by a 13-year-old. As far as the logic goes, so let me just read it to you. So here's the campaign. If we want to really have, good cop policies, basically, we need to campaign to end the drug war. Cops should demote and remove violent cops. They should create a national blacklist against bad cops. There should be psych evals and drug tests. There should review and fix failed body cam policies. They should prioritize non-lethal ways to arrest suspects. Refuse to arrest people of victimless crimes who could commit victimless crimes. Address cop sexual misconduct, which has become an epidemic across the U.S. And treat people in the community with respect. If cops want to be good, they should treat people in the community with respect. Again, this is the logic of a 13-year-old who doesn't even know good from evil, right from wrong, and they're trying to correct the police department. And this is being propagated probably in high school and college circles, probably to professors, et cetera. They're maybe trying to get this to be social policy, but I got a response for you. First of all, community, why don't you treat police officers with respect? Now, we all know the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But here the community is lambasting and attacking police. Now you need to treat us with respect. You see, some of us have been treating the police department with respect for as long as we can imagine. And that being the case, they have always treated us with respect. So you wonder what the disconnect there is. But on top of that, police officers have to deal with 90% bad on their job. They have to deal with what everybody else doesn't want to deal with. Have you ever had to call the police officer? I have been in management positions for years, and I've had to call and deal with really bad people on a multitude of occasions, and you have to call the police. And you know why we call the police? We call them when there's people that we don't want to have to deal with, or maybe are not legally allowed to deal with, the scum of the earth scumbags that nobody else wants to deal with, and that's who police officers get to deal with all of the time. They get to deal with the sewage of society, and to any thinking person, that would have to have some sort of effect on you. So where's the community respect or support? It's almost like not respecting the plumber who comes to your house to make sure your poop is drained away properly. It's overflowing in your bathroom, it's upstairs, it's downstairs, it's everywhere. There are still people that detest plumbers, but it doesn't make any logical sense of why. On top of that, whoever wrote this meme and whoever supports this meme, they act like they would be different in that position. They act like they could deal with all the crumminess of society and just remain unfathomed and unchanged and not ever make mistakes. And you just need to be a more honorable person. And then it's as if we don't realize that criminals do not respect them at all. And how do you deal with a person who does not respect you at all? You don't. You person that believes this, you're dealing with somebody that doesn't respect you, and they start slapping you in the face, and they start stealing from you, and they start burning down your house. You can't deal with them because they have absolutely no respect for you, and you're supposed to deal respectfully with them. That's when we call the police, and that's who they get to deal with, and you're asking them to treat the community with more respect. And actually, that's a code word for let's treat the felons with more respect, because we really don't think they're that bad, which that makes me think about the disconnect again. Who is writing this garbage? But further, There's also, let's, refuse to arrest people for victimless crimes. What are you talking about? Victimless crime. What is a victimless crime? This makes no sense. Any crime that has ever been put on the books, somebody thought it was necessary and they were persuasive enough to get other people to believe it was necessary to get the law on the books in the first place because it was affecting somebody negatively in some fashion. I'm not saying all laws are right. I'm just saying to think that there's victimless crimes. We don't even, if it's always been victimless, then who would have ever complained? Was it the felon that came and like, I want to state a law against myself because I'm committing this activity that never hurts anybody? That is utter stupidity to even think in this fashion. So victimless crimes, I think they're probably referring to things like drugs, as if that's not highly problematic. If anybody that's gotten addicted to opioids from a surgery, or somebody that's wandered too far into drugs because they took recreational drugs, or anybody that's ever been hurt by one, or especially not those who are aching in pain because somebody took a drug they shouldn't and died from it. I mean, how terrible. But what about indecency and homelessness? Now that's just, that's a victimless crime. And I'm really trying to think of what a victimless crime would be. But bring indecency and homelessness and street poop into your neighborhood and see if it's a victimless crime. See if it doesn't have any victims. Let's see what happens to your house value or the rental value, or who then begins to hang in your neighborhood otherwise. And let's see if there's a true victimless crime or not. This is just utter absurdity. What about we need to really focus on how to arrest people with non-lethal ways. Like, let's prioritize non-lethal ways to arrest suspects. Huh? Hey, person who wrote this, and anybody who believed this, have you ever physically caught somebody? Like, have you really tried to tackle somebody or restrain them or get somebody that doesn't respect you, who actually hates your guts? Do you try to ever get them under control? Somebody that's maxed out on drugs, that is running from the law. Like, we need to prioritize non-lethal ways to what? I had a friend that worked in a psych ward, and they were so burdened. They were so burdened. They could not harm the patients. And each round, they were every 6 months, they were given new protocol on, no, you can't use chokeholds. No, you can't use wrist locks. No, you can't. Pretty soon it'll be like, no, you can't hold them down. There's so many restrictions that you actually can't do the job that needs to be done, or it takes so many people to do it. Then now that you're just wasting manpower. And of course, the complaint of somebody be like, well, why don't you do it more efficiently and more fast? And why aren't y'all spread up, conquering more ground and covering more of these problems? But the truth is, we've handcuffed the ability of anybody to be able to actually restrain somebody when they need to. And on top of this, whoever thought about, do we need to prioritize non-lethal ways to arrest people? Are you maybe you're 10 years old? Do you not realize we've been doing this for years? That's what the P-38 is for. Well, that's what mace is for. That's what the stun guns are for. We've been trying this for a long time. But actually what this does, the more non-lethal ways you try to take down a criminal, the more you actually embolden them. And maybe this concept is too high-minded for some of you that don't know how to think, but if you don't have any kind of repercussions for getting locked up, and if somebody's just kind of like a catch and release, catch them in your neighborhood, release them in somebody else's neighborhood, let's just let them go all the time. I cannot wait till some of this crime gets to your actual doorstep so you'll wake up and understand we are actually training criminals to be worse by going soft and easy on them. You obviously don't read history, you don't know anything about human personality, and you have never dealt with criminals in your life, so quit trying to tell the police what to do. You should thank God that there's any of them willing to do this job at this point. So we embolden criminals by getting, let's shoot spider webs on them out of silly string or whatever. My goodness. What about body cam? Let's fix the body cam footage, all the inefficiencies there and everything. And I'm just going to tell you, you don't realize how much you are handicapping the police. And I can tell that you don't call the police, even though you soon will be. You soon will be. Because when you keep a constant body cam on a police officer, he now knows that in a court of law, he is incredibly liable for anything and everything he does. He can't act first. He is more prone to have to react, which is not the place you want to be in when dealing with the criminal element of society. And then he's afraid that if he just makes a mistake, not only losing his career, he might go to jail. And so you're pushing them to inaction. The more handcuffs that you place upon them, why don't you support them and treat them with respect, as you already mentioned, and realize that they're actually dealing with violent offenders. You might not know what a violent offender is. Why don't you go out there and talk to all of those people that have been violently offended, and then you'll know something about how these rascals that are out there need to be treated and locked up. What about the drug testing? Okay, I'm in agreement. Sure, drug test them. But what about psych evals? Oh my goodness. Okay, I understand screening people, making sure they're not on a loose screw, maybe seeing if they need suicidal help, etc. But the problem actually is our communities are demanding from the police what they can't do because of the constraints that the community is placing upon them, which puts them in a very mentally short leash that's it's just not going to work. So what about community support against these perpetrators that the police are always dealing with? And this blows my mind. And you're dumb if you support this, but do you realize how often that we are arresting people for things that were bad enough that somebody called and said, hey, I need a police officer? It was bad enough that the person involved in it that was violently offended in some shape, form, or fashion said, I need a police officer, and these people are arrested upwards of 50 and 70 times. I can fix this. I can absolutely fix this. All you have to do is when you lock them up, lock them up. That's an easy fix. Why don't we support them if the police knew that the community was behind them? Their mental health would be stellar. And if they could actually do their job and were allowed to remove people off the street, it'd be so peaceful and squeaky clean there, nobody'd be complaining about much anything. What about, bad cops? Let's get rid of the bad cops and let's have this violent blacklist against bad cops. Well, who's saying that these cops are like really violent? Is it felons? Is it the family of felons? Is it who's clashing with them? Like I did see a big fiasco years ago about some cops that were probably just pushed with frustration up into a corner with people that didn't respect them, that never listen. And if we truly listen to their side of the story instead of just attacking them, we might gain some insight. But it's actually you, the people, that are creating a justice system that doesn't inflict justice, and it doesn't actually ever administer justice. We just let the evil people run around all the time. And so the only way the cops could really deal with the evil people then is to either do nothing or be more evil than the evil people. I mean, you put them in a really, really bad place. Why not just support them, get this bad element taken care of, and then if they kept acting out in an aggressive manner, then do something. But that's not what's happening. And also, there's this high pie in the sky mentality of, if the cops were really cops, we could end the drug war. Americans want drugs. Why do you think they're here? The rich want drugs. The poor want drugs. People in the White House obviously want drugs. And so until you fix the heart problem of people not having any value or depth in their life, until you fill that hole with Jesus Christ, you're never going to fix the drug problem. So think about some of these things. Pass this video along to some of your friends. Hit like and subscribe if you feel it's if you like any of these thoughts or any of the logic. And don't forget to thank a police officer for what they're doing.